let's find out if you should actually purchase a GoPro Fusion 360. What's up guys, I'm the Revenge's Hammer. So last year when I got married and we went on honeymoon, we were in Jeffreys Bay, and I used this action camera to actually capture the horizon, and on the next wave to capture my reaction, and on the third wave to capture my wife's reaction. When you're out doing adventurous things, the last thing you actually want in that moment is to worry about where or what your camera is focusing on. That brings something like this into the picture. And it's sort of a niche market, and I would have much rather have had this docked on the surfboard. It captures everything, full 360. It captures my expression, captures what I'm seeing as well as my surroundings. Quick unboxing. Unboxing, as you know, you get the camera itself, a little carry pouch, no micro SD cards included, USB-C cable, adhesive mounting grips. So let's move on to the cons. As you can see, firstly, it's quite big. I'll put up all the stats on the screen, but compared to something like a GoPro Session, this is actually really massive. It's big and it's heavy. First con. Second con is the editing software. I will show you how I've edited on my Windows PC and how I've edited on my iPad. If you have an older MacBook, I would not recommend for the Fusion 360, but it is functional. It does capture in super large file sizes, so when connected to your mobile device, just make sure that it's a strong, stable connection. I usually keep my iPad and the device like literally next to each other. Let's move on to the pros. First pro, over capture. I mean, this guy captures everything. This selfie stick, and it's obviously telescopic. It goes up to 60 centimeters, I believe. It's a nice grip, very sturdy, very stable. It's actually a tripod as well. I mean, if I didn't get this included, I would actually recommend that you go out and buy this. Pro number 2 is the audio. It does record full 360 audio, or spatial audio as it's called, and it's actually quite good. The third pro, very fancy, and what I love most about it, something the newer models have. My older GoPro 4 Session doesn't have it. Some may call it a gimmick, but it's the voice commands. So I mean, this is something you can just go out and Google the voice commands. GoPro, stop recording. Especially if you have your tripod opened out and you have this docked across the room or across the yard, and you don't want to have to go there to press record, you can voice control it. Alternatively, you could also just get yourself a remote or use your mobile phone. Bonus sort of pro, which I feel is worth mentioning, fully waterproof device. Let's go through a full body walkthrough. Front of it, as you can see, you have the little camera, which is dome shaped on both sides, as well as a display LCD. Have a start stop recording button. On the other side, it's basically a duplication without the button and without the LCD. It's a clone of the camera. On the one side, you have the battery compartment as well as your micro SDs. They go in here. It is a removable battery. You can get a dock for this, or you can charge it in the device. On the other side, you have a slot that opens up in the same fashion. It is a USB-C, and then you have a mode button on the left hand side. It's just to toggle through your setting. Bottom, conventional action cam, mounts onto any sort of tripod or selfie stick. So now let's go through the editing process. As you can see, it's being done here on my iPad. You can export it in two different options. You can either export it in a full 360 video. What that will mean is that in the video itself, you can pan or swivel or tilt or do whatever in order to see the full 360 capture, or you could output it in your normal size of your choice, whether it's a 16:9 or 1:1 or 4:3, whatever aspect ratio you want, and you can decide what actually needs to be in frame. This is the output that you actually get. This is day 3 of our camping adventure. We are on the way to go putt. Some of the must-have accessories. GoPro's beaten me to it. They've included the selfie stick. I mean, I even used this on my other GoPros, so I mean, it shouldn't even be there, but you will be using this accessory constantly. First must-have accessory is of course a micro SD card. You will be needing 2 of them, one for each camera, and make sure that they are the same size and the same brand, just so that your read and write speeds are not jeopardized. Link down below to what I like and what I use on all my devices. Second nice to have accessory, it's these little cheap VR goggles. It's when you export the full 360 video. I mean, why should you have to go on your phone and like move through it? Oh, I want to look up or side or left, whatever. You just put this on and then you can get your full virtual reality view. Nice accessories, relatively cheap. That about covers the overview of the device. Who's it for? It's for someone who doesn't want to have to focus on something in particular. You rather over capture and then later in post you can delete or omit certain things. Audio quality is pretty reasonable. Video quality is excellent. I haven't showed you the stats, but it captures in 5.2K up to 30 frames per second, or if you drop it down to 3K you can go to 60 frames per second. I prefer higher quality and lower frames. Totally your preference. I mean, if you're doing some extreme sports, for example, and you really want to slow it down, then of course drop down the resolution and increase the frames per second. Let me know down in the comments below, what is your go-to action camera? I mean, is it your iPhone, or do you rock a GoPro, or do you actually use a GoPro Fusion? If I'm being totally honest, in most cases, just simply due to portability, I actually go for my GoPro Session. Should you actually get a GoPro Fusion 360? If you have a need for it, any sort of thing where you want to capture your reaction as well as what you are actually observing or the people next to you, it's a go-to and a must-have device. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I'm the Revenger's Hammer, wishing you all of the best. Stay tuned, new videos coming soon.